Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's resume our complete beginner's guide to Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup with our new character here, the Mountain Dwarf fighter. And we are ready to go back to Dungeon 2 and finish it up. So I'm just pushing Shift X to kind of get the full examine and zoom out view, and then pushing Shift period to look for a staircase down, then enter to navigate to the closest one, and then shift period or greater than to go down the steps. And I'm going to use auto explore. And I'm just going to use tab to auto fight these guys. They're not hard. There's an Inkwell talisman. It's another kind of shape changing artifact that we don't need for this character. And there we go. So we did get a spellbook, Freeze, Frozen Ramparts, and Hailstorm. Now, this spellbook, unlike the previous one that we saw, is actually appropriate for our level. So we could, if we wanted to, try to cast some spells. Now, I told you I was going to be a tanky kind of character, a fighter, but remember that we're a Mountain Dwarf, and one of the things you got to do in Dungeon Crawl is really roll with the punches and take advantage of whatever the game gives you. So we do have the ability to, cast in heavier armor. It would take a little bit more for us to get there, considering our low intelligence, but if I push Shift M, I go to the memorization screen, and it shows you from here all of the spells that I know from the books that I've picked up or that I've learned through other sources. And if I want to memorize them so I can cast them, I have to spend spell levels to do so. So you can see here that Freeze is the only one that I can really cast. Because of the spell level. It's level 1. The third level spells I can't get. I'm only second level, so I'm not high enough. Now, Freeze is not something that would be easy for me to cast, because if you look at this chart, you see Freeze at the top. It's an ice spell, and I have a 65% chance to fail casting it, and it's level 1. Now, the color of the failure determines how bad the effects of miscasting the spell will be. And so those magenta ones at 95%, that's real bad. That means something awful would happen, and we don't want to mess around with it. The gray for Freeze means it would be not too horrible, but at the same time, we want to check it out. So what does this spell do? I'm going to describe and check out Freeze. And so this says freezes an adjacent creature, dealing damage that bypasses armor, and it slows them. And if they're cold-blooded creatures, like a snake or something. Now, that's pretty okay. But the problem with this particular spell for our character is it only works if the enemy is adjacent. You can see here, if I look at it, level 1, School Ice, fail 65, but then if we go further down this chart, its power is 0 because I have no training in Ice. And it's only going to do 1 dice 3 damage, which is bad, and it only has a range of 1. And it does tell you the effects of miscasting it, which could cause magical contamination, which is bad if you build it up. But this is not great for us, because if something is adjacent, I don't want to spend a turn casting a spell that does 1 dice 3 when I could just swing with my flail. It's just my weapon is better. So I'm open to the idea of our character potentially being more of a hybrid, like a little bit of casting and then most, some fighting. It's going to be like, if I would break it down, it'd be like 80% melee character with 20% casting, not a 50-50 hybrid or something like that. But there are still some spells that you have enough utility where that would be worth it, but Freeze is not one of them. So we're just going to continue exploring, auto-exploring, running around, and we found ourselves a kobold. Now, if you see in the bottom left, it's shouted. And when an enemy shouts, it could be bad because it can attract other enemies. So we're already in a hallway. I'm just going to push S a couple of times, wait for this dork, and then kill him. And then we get a scroll of teleportation, which is fantastic. There's an adder and a ball python. Because there's nothing below me, and the doors are closed, I'm actually going to just move up into this, and I'm going to move up one more. We're both going to move up. And he didn't get an attack on me because he had to move also. I'm just going to swing, swing, and we're just going to keep swinging. We kill them. We're constricted, but it's not a big deal, and we're there. And we're back to the spell shop. There's an endoplasm. Okay, here's an adder. I'm going to back it up, and just wait for it. Smash him. Hey, level 4, and our maces and flails is up to level 5. So we get 7 more hit points and another magic point. Fantastic. Now, if I push M to go to our skills, you'll see here that maces and flails is 5.1, and the cost is going up as it's a little harder for us to learn, but with our +2 aptitude, it's still not that bad. I'd like to get maces and flails at least to 10 before I even go to something else right now, because you just want to have a faster swing and more accuracy. It will keep us alive pretty much longer than anything else, in my opinion. All right, so now I am going to move, and I'm going to look for a staircase down. There's one right by me. I Shift X, Shift period, here we go. And we're going to just go down the steps. Shift period or greater than. All right, there is a glowing hand axe right here. So it's not just a hand axe that's glowing. You have to step on it to see, and it's +4. Well. I'm going to pick that up and take a look. A hand axe is unfortunately not a great axe. If I look at it, its base damage is 7. It does have +3. But what you could see is that because it has this enchantment of +4, its damage rating is actually 13, which is pretty similar to our Flail. The attack delay is 1.1. In fact, if I look at my Flail, the damage rating has gone up because my skill has gone up, and the delay is the same. So the advantage of using the axe would be that I can hit with it better, but it wouldn't do as much damage. So there's an argument to be made to equip that, and what you would probably want to do is switch and start training axes. And the nice thing is, we have the luxury that we could do that because, we're getting some synergistic bonuses to axes just because we're training maces and flails. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep my flail, but it's something you could think about. If it was a better axe than a hand axe, I would probably switch. Like if it was a broad axe or a war axe, I would switch. But a hand axe is like the worst of the bunch. It's like a regular mace as opposed to a flail. And we're just going to fight this guy here. I just waited for him to get to me. Okay. Some different colored stones. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I left that altar back on the second floor. Let's go back up to that really fast. And I can explain a couple of things to you right now when I do this, which is that you can actually push Control F in Dungeon Crawl to search, and you could search for an item type or whatever you want, but you can also search for an altar, and it'll show you any altars that you found. And we found this faded altar. We can go to it, and you can then pray, and it belongs to Zom, Hep, or Vehumit, but we're not sure which. And we can press the corresponding letter to learn more about these gods, or press Enter to convert or escape to cancel. So they changed these. These used to be you would just pray and randomly get a god, and the advantage was that they were found early on in the game, but it wasn't really enough of an advantage because some gods are just terrible for certain builds, so you didn't really want to risk it most of the time. However, now what they've done is they let you see what 3 gods it could be, and then you can, see if you could get one of those. Unfortunately for us, I'm not really blown away by any of these choices. Vehumit is good if you're a spellcaster, which we're not planning on being primarily a spellcaster. Zom is crazy if you want to have a crazy run. And then Hep is just kind of a meh. I'm okay on it, but I'm not over the moon. I'm going to wait and see if I can get a better god that's more in line with being a melee character. So I'm going to keep going. We've got a scroll of identify. And how many potions do I have that I not know what they are, huh? Push I to go into my inventory, and I have several. What I really, really like to do early on is try to find heal wounds and curing, which we've done. So I'm going to go ahead and identify. We've done heal wounds, but not curing. And I'll just see what this is. And there we go. So now we have curing, so we can get rid of poison. And we have heal wounds, and that is tremendous. Oop, there's a jewel glass wand. Great. I'm going to step back. And I'm going to kill this guy like that. Now, this is a Wand of Warping. So the Wand of Warping is an evocable, and you'll see it immediately goes on my kind of list of items that are consumables that I can use in the upper left. And evocable items are like magical artifacts that have charges. And this Wand of Warping, we can get the description, and it could do 3 dice 7 damage. So it says it damages everything caught in its wake, and sometimes will blink them a short distance away. So it can hurt them, and it maybe blinks them away. So it's cool. And we're going to use it if we need some range or just a little bit of extra boost. And I'm going to go push M, and I'm going to show you in the skills if you want to make items like this better, the effects of these items better, what you do is you level up your evocations. So it is this skill over here, and we're actually pretty decent at that. That will certainly be something that we do later, but not right now. Right now, we're still focusing just on our weapon and fighting these. And you see how now I can't auto fight anymore because I've been hurt by this endoplasm, and it says you're too injured to fight recklessly. That's the danger of these endoplasms. They're just brutal because of the cold damage goes through our armor. Okay, well, here's an actual altar of Zom. So there's 2 opportunities for us to take Zom. I don't really recommend Zom for a new player unless you're just looking for some laughs. Zom just kind of operates randomly and can help you or hurt you. Zom giveth and Zom taketh away. Now there's Trog. Trog is really tempting. Trog is fantastic. We don't know what this is until we step on it. You can't walk in the lava accidentally, so you don't have to worry about it. And it's positive energy. That's pretty good. That will help us against negative energy attacks. Trog is an amazing god that allows you to become a berserker and go berserk and, kill things and give blood for the blood god. But that's what we did with our beginner's guide for our Minotaur Berserker. So I'm going to try to make these guides as different as possible just to show other possibilities. So we're not going to take Trog, but as a new player, and if you were a fighter, Trog is awesome. I take Trog now. Ooh, magical boots. Okay, so there's a Bombardier Beetle. You'll see how it's yellow. This is actually a difficult enemy. So I'm going to push Shift V which is the shortcut for evocable items, and I'm going to select the Wand of Warping, and I'm going to select the Beetle. And it's been lightly wounded, and we hear a shout, and I'm going to step back here, and it looks like we're going to get both of these guys. Now I'm going to Wand of Warp, and I'm going to target the Beetle, and you can see how we killed the kobold, and we hurt the Beetle. Remember, it says it damages everything in its wake, so this is a great wand, because everything that it passed through, it did damage to. And now the Beetle is actually really hurt. I'm just going to walk up to it. It's dangerous. It's going to hurt us. Actually, it didn't. We killed it. And I used a couple of charges on my wand. I don't like doing that all the time, but in that case, that was an enemy that I'm a little bit worried about. And so I'm going to go ahead and just take it down. Now, these boots, we're going to push G to pick these up. We're going to push W and just put these on. These are +1 boots of stealth. And it says we feel stealthy. And if I push Shift 5, you could see I am still not stealthy. I have no notification because I don't have any training in stealth. I have a -2 aptitude. And I'm wearing heavy armor, which is noisy and doesn't make us stealthy. But I'm wearing these boots because they give us, look at our armor class. It's gone up to 15. So their +1 just gives us a nice little benefit to our damage mitigation. And it's great. I'll take it. Okay. So this is a heavy hand axe. So this hand axe actually has a brand on it, which is heavy. And if you want to see what that is, we can just pick it up and then look at it. And heavy, you could see its damage rating is 19, which is amazing, but it means it's slow. So it says it deals dramatically more damage, but attacks are slower. You can see the delay is 1.7, but its damage rating is 19. So we could really wallop things with that, but it's quite slow. I'm going to keep my Flail, but heavy is a brand that I wouldn't mind on my Flail. Okay, here's a fear scroll. And I'm going to throw some stones at this guy just to try to weaken him. I'm just pushing F, and there we go. Level 5. Another 7 hit points and a magic point. And that is floor 2. So I'm going to read this unidentified scroll, and it's enchant weapon. Well, there you go. So we could enchant that heavy hand axe if we wanted to make it better and switch over to axes. But again, I just don't care for hand axes unless they're tremendous. I'm just going to enchant my flail. I can't, because I didn't know what that scroll did, I can't just not use it and save it for later. It would disintegrate and I wouldn't get any use. So now we get a better flail. I'm going to push I and I'm going to show you. Our flail is now +1 and our damage rating goes up because it is the base 10 times 127% from our strength times 118% from skill and then +1 from the enchantment. So it's more damaging and the delay is 1.1. Now, normally if we find any more scrolls of enchant weapon, they'll be identified because we've seen it now. We're going to save those for a better weapon. I wouldn't normally just enchant this, but this is early and we're reading to identify our scrolls a lot. And that's something I do all the time once the floor is clear. I just blind read because knowing what the scroll is just worth the opportunity cost of having it later in the game because you want to know earlier rather than later, at least in my opinion. Now I'm going to go down. And we've got some money, but there's an imp down there. So I'm going to go fight this jerk and then go pick this up. Ooh. You see that mace down there? You see how on the bottom left it says a Slimey mace? It's a bad type. It's just a regular mace, but it's an artifact, which could be really, really good. Artifacts are better than just blue items that have just an enchantment and maybe a brand. This can have a lot of things going on. So this has, well, a lot of things going on. It's holy, it's fragile, it gives us +3 to resist negative energy, it helps us resist poison, and it lets us fly, and it gives us, it's a +5. So it's amazing. Now, let's look at it, though. The only problem is that it's fragile. And so what that means is it will be destroyed if it's unequipped. So that's a sad story. Which is that it'll be destroyed if it's unequipped. But to be honest, so what? Like, we're just going to use this now because it's better than our current weapon. It is more damage rating, and it gives us resist poison, which is insane. Resist poison helps us so much to not die from poison. 3 pips of resist negative energy is the maximum negative energy resistance you can get. So all sorts of necromancers and things that want to do negative energy attacks against us, we will take the least amount of damage possible against it. It's also holy, which means it's been blessed, so it deals an additional 3/4 of any damage that pierces undead and demons' armor. So if it's an undead or a demon, it just takes extra damage against this. And it lets us fly if we use it as an item, which is also kind of useful. So this is just a really, really good item, and we're going to use it. Now, it's going to tell us really equip it, and it's going to ask us that because we can't ever take this off without it breaking. But we're not going to save it. We're just going to use this, and this is going to carry us for a large portion of the early game because it's a great weapon. And what's cool is we're a Mountain Dwarf. So what that means is we can find enchant weapon scrolls and use them on this to make it stronger. So it's more accurate than our flail. It just has less base damage. But with all the enchantments and stuff, it's actually really good. Here's some gloves, and you can push Shift 5, and you can see we do not have gloves, and we don't have a helmet, and we don't have an amulet. So we're happy to see that. There's a runed orb, which is like a caster offhand item, and we will wear these gloves like so. And there we go. Our armor class is up to 16. And just auto-exploring around on Dungeon 3. Beep, 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 beep. Kill that guy. Okay, there's 2 orcs. And the back one doesn't see us, the front one does. So what I'm going to do is actually pull them this way around the corner. And, oh, he's got a boomerang. That's cute. Okay, so we found something really hard, which is what I was worried about, which is why I ran around the corner. One of the reasons you run away out of around the corner like that is so you cut line of sight from enemies just like this one. An Orc Priest is a enemy that is very likely to kill you early game if you're a new player, or even if you're an experienced player sometimes, because they have a really annoying ability. I'm going to push X, and I'm going to target this guy and push V, And that ability is smite. So this guy can smite us and do 7 to 17 damage with his smite. And smite doesn't get mitigated by armor. And it is at a I'll show you. Any targeted enemy within sight, it doesn't need direct line of fire. It goes through your armor. It is a nightmare. This guy can be standing behind other orcs and just smiting you and ripping you apart. So I wanted to move back around that corner so that if there was an orc priest, and they're very common, if you see orcs, and especially if you see more than one orc, they travel with orc priests a lot. So you want to try to kind of find a situation where you can kill it and then get out of the line of fire so that the priest can't stand back and blast you. Now we're close, so we killed it. He tried to hit us just, with his melee weapon, and that's not going to work. So luckily, because we got close and we have this really nice weapon, we're rocking and rolling. Now you're going to notice not all the time do I back out and, reposition. It depends on how hard the enemy is and what the layout is, and you'll get more comfortable with doing that. So here's a Bombardier Beetle. This is a perfect opportunity to just back up like this, and then just push S. I'm waiting until he gets close, and then I'm going to fight him in up close and personal. I don't want that guy to just stand there and blow me away from range until I can get close enough. I don't really have a good ranged attack with this character, so it's not a good idea. Okay, great. I have explored this floor. And now I'm going to go down. I am not going to use that escape hatch because I want to be able to come back up. And we're going to go to Dungeon 5. We should start being able to find the Ecumenical Temple. All right, that iguana was tough. Level 6. Ding, ding, ding. We won't get stats to distribute until level 9. But we got more hit points. Ooh, enchant armor. Cool. Now, the enchant armor I'm actually going to save. I don't need to use it at the moment. The sleep cap is a little, annoying. So he put us to sleep. So these mushrooms, this is a hard guy because he could put you to sleep. As long as there's no other enemies, that can be okay. You should wake up when you're hit, but sometimes you don't. I'm throwing stones at that guy to bring him to me. He put us to sleep. Oh, boy. Okay, so we found a difficult enemy. We could talk about this. Prince Ribbit is right here, and Prince Ribbit is red, meaning Prince Ribbit is really, really difficult for us. Prince Ribbit, if I push X and just, whenever you see something, this is like a named unique enemy, just inspect him. And he's a frog of unusual size with a tiny crown. He has 39 hit points, and he is fast. He has really good evasion, but no armor class, so he's kind of hard to hit. I only have a 48% chance to hit him, and I have a +5 mace. And he has a 55% chance to hit me, and if he hits me, his max damage is 20. So they tell you max damage, thank goodness, because you could see, am I going to die in one hit? No, we wouldn't die in one hit, and we would mitigate that damage. It wouldn't be, 20 to us straight up. But this guy is still seriously difficult for us to fight. So we have some choices. The choices would be, he doesn't see us. There's a question mark. So we could just run away and, live to fight another day. And I'm okay with that. But I'm going to tell you, I'm looking at my items, and I feel like we could take them. I have potions of might. I have 3 potions of heal wounds, and I have a wand. I also have 2 teleport scrolls if it goes badly and I need to try to get out of there. And I have a fear scroll as well. So looking at all of these things, I feel like, okay, let's see if we could take Prince Ribbit. And if it goes badly, we have some exit plans. So I'm going to push Q and drink the potion of might. Now he sees us, and he's coming over to get us. You can see our... we're going to do more damage now because we are mighty. And I'm going to use my wand on this guy. This is why you have a wand like this, to hurt this dude. Now, you don't want to hurt yourself, but we want to hurt him. And we're hurting him really badly. And we have a 50% chance to blink him. We're just going to keep using it. He's blinking, and now he's on us. So you could see I used 3 charges of the wand. I want to save them for emergencies, but this is an emergency. If you a red threat level enemy is a serious situation that you really need to make a decision. Do I run or do I fight immediately? Now, I already drank my potion, so I've kind of made a decision I want to try to fight. And I swung and we killed him. And we hit him for 2 exclamation points right there because we're mighty and he has no mitigation. The difficulty was going to be hitting him. Oh, and by the way, I misspoke. This item, I swear it used to be different, but we're just flying when we have it equipped. We can turn it off, but it's not that we have to use it to turn on flight. It's just we equip this and we're flying. And there's very few disadvantages to flying, so this is good for us. We can fly over deep water and lava, for example. There's like a spell, airstrike. There's some things that we don't want to be flying for, but that's so few and far between that we want it. But you know what? I don't think we actually can turn it off. Maybe it's only with a ring of flight, but we'd have to take the weapon off to stop flying, and then it would kill the weapon because it's fragile. But we don't care. We are absolutely thrilled with the fact that we just won right there. And we killed, Prince Ribbit, and we're almost level 7. I mean, that was a difficult enemy. The Scorpion is very hard as well, but because we have resist poison, we're not that worried. And we're level 7. We got some money. There's a talisman. And there's an ogre. Now, an ogre is hard. There's a couple of talismans, actually. But I feel okay. Now, the ogre could still make me regret this feeling. I'm actually going to back up all the way so that I don't get any other treats. And I'm going to just throw stones until he's close to me. Now, throwing the stone was a mistake when he was 1 adjacent, because you can see he's hit me really hard, right? And we've almost got him, but this is getting scary. We killed him, and now we have this hound, and we're going to fight it, and we killed it. Now, if it would have got worse, we could have drank a potion, but we don't need to. I'm just going to stand here and push 5 and rest, and we're at full health. The reason throwing a stone is a mistake is because it took more than a turn to throw. So it took so much time that he was able to move and attack us. So instead, I should have thrown the stone until he was 1 away and then just waited so he didn't get to move in and hit me with his club. So that is something you want to pay attention to. Now, these darts are great. I'm going to pick these up, these Atropa darts. Anytime you can find poison darts, Curar darts, Atropa darts, something like that, it's great. Now, if I want to use these, I can actually push Shift-Q to change what item I have quivered, and I could even put my wand here or a spell, but I can switch to these darts so that when I push F, I'm actually using those instead of my stones, and they're a lot stronger. Another potion of might. And I'm going to wait and just fight this. Oh, there's a bunch of scorpions. Okay. But the scorpions aren't that hard for us because of us resisting poison. So the Phantom is here. Phantom is really hard. Phantom can actually hit you for a lot of damage, and he's hard to hit, and he can blink around, but we killed him. And there's another one. No problem. We got him. Maces and Flails all the way to 11. So now we could switch off of this and start training armor and shields if we wanted to, or maybe just armor, and I think that would be fine. But instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the equals key, and you see it says set a skill target, and then I'm going to set the skill B, Maces and Flails, and it says what skill do you want, and I'm just going to say 15. I'm going to stop training Maces and Flails when it gets to 15. The game will tell me, and then I will switch to something else. That, I feel like, is a great start so that we are just hitting everything. And there's the beetle. I'm going to bring it back here, and our delay goes down. In fact, if I look at my mace, my current attack delay is 0.8. So, actually, let's just stop at 14 because that's max delay. I don't even know, and we could train it more than that, but I'm gonna go back here, push M, push equals, push B, and just put 14. This will get us so that we're attacking as fast as possible with the weapon, and then we could switch to something else. And we're level 8. And we got a strength. So sometimes at certain level up, you will get a random attribute point that you don't get to decide, but bam. How about a strength? That's perfect for us. So we're at 22 strength. 63 hit points, 8th level, and we're rocking. An unknown scroll. Just a statue, okay. Escape patch. Hound, just going to run over and kill that thing. I'm just auto-fighting a lot of this stuff now because with our weapon, with resist poison, whoa! Plus 18? What is this insanity? A well-made harbuk. Okay, so this is a strange piece of equipment because its base armor rating is only 8. Plate mail is 10, but it's so ridiculously enchanted that it's going to change our armor class from 16 to 30. So this is just outrageous. We have a 30 armor class, which is like kind of, what a late mid-game character would have. Its base, its guaranteed damage reduction is not high because of its base, but this item is a really, really ridiculous find. There is Rue. We do not want that god, and we're done. So we got super lucky so far, and sometimes it's like that, but I'm going to tell you what. You got to be careful in Dungeon Crawl. Because sometimes you'll get an awesome weapon or an awesome item and you can't believe it and you think you're unkillable. And that position mentally of being unkillable is going to get you killed and you're going to die. I often die faster when I get good stuff than when I get bad stuff because I stop being cautious enough. So even though we just got super lucky with this armor that is going to carry us for quite some time, we still need to be careful, and we will. We're hopefully going to find the Ecumenical Temple next level and can choose a god, and we are doing beautifully here at 8th level with our Mountain Dwarf. I hope you're still finding this series to be useful and fun. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Take care.